Welcome to Live on Purpose Radio with Dr. Paul Jenkins, where you will hear inspiring stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Feed your mind with a regular dose of positive energy and show up for your life every day on purpose. Living on purpose means that you have a purpose and you do it intentionally. And now, here's your host, Dr. Paul.
And welcome back, everyone, to Live on Purpose Radio. This is Dr. Paul, the shrink, who expands your life with another episode of Live on Purpose Radio. I have my good friend and colleague with me here today. His name is Eric Dodge. Eric is a singer. He is a speaker. He's an author. I mean, how far should we go, Eric?
Hey, I think that's far enough.
You've
That's
done
good.
it all, dude. You're living the dream.
I don't want to have to live up to too much expectations here. So.
Not too well. You're pretty much a regular guy.
Hell yeah! Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
You know what? In the introduction that just played as we were coming on, it says ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and that's kind of how it shakes down. You know, I used to look at people who were performing or speaking or writing books, and I thought, oh, they're some kind of special person. They're lucky or something. I've realized they're just normal people.
Yes, and very much. The more we're involved in that, the more we see that. I mean, it's very ordinary people doing. I mean, I think anybody can do it. Honestly, I feel like in some ways. So,
well, because it's about principle, right?
Right.
It's about these natural laws that always work, that are always on, and anyone can apply those principles, but we get in our own way sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure.
Eric, I've been reading your book, and folks, this, by the way, for those of you who are listening to Live on Purpose Radio, we do have a video capture of my conversation here today with Eric. If you want to see the Why Not Today t-shirt and the black cowboy hat, that's where you go to Live on Purpose TV at YouTube, and you're going to find us there. So just for those of you who want the visuals, Eric, I've been reading your book.
Yeah, thank you.
And it says the same thing that your T-shirt says today. Why not today?
Right.
I'm going to let you roll with that for just a minute. Talk about your title. Talk about the idea behind this book and why you wrote it.
There's so much to that. It's hard to describe it all. I got approached years ago just after I had started to become a professional singer, after I'd gone to Nashville and made my first album. I got approached by a lady that I had met in a TV studio, and she became a great friend of mine named the Fly Lady. And her name's Marla Silly. She's a best-selling author. She has one of the largest groups. She has a huge Facebook page now with over almost 500,000 people on it.
I still got to get her on the show, Eric. Maybe you can hook us
you
up.
should. She's got a great story herself. It's just amazing. Yes. Talk about living on purpose. But she was putting together a music album, and she heard me sing. And she said, after we had left, I got this phone call, and she was asking me, hey, I got this song that's going to go on this album, and for some reason, it's just your song. You need to sing it. It's your song. And I'm like, okay, well, let's hear more about this. And she says, well, it's called Why Not Today? And I just picture you singing it, and it was written for her. This song was written for Fly Lady to be put on a CD by Amy Lacey, who has also become a great friend of mine and co-writer. An amazing songwriter, and she wanted me to sing this song. And so I did. I recorded it. I started traveling with her, singing it in her speeches and her shows, which is where I first got introduced to keynote speaking and being on the big stage with all these people and things like that. It was really a neat experience. And that's where the Why Not Today first became a thing for me. It was a song, and it grew into a best-selling album, which grew into a message because the song was my message and my message was my song. It was all the same thing about living the life of your dreams today. You have the power. Nobody else has the power. That's the basic message behind that song. And so the book was born just this year with the story of my life and how I got to where I'm at, living the principles of Why Not Today. So it's kind of a lot to that story. There's a lot of elements. It's hard to describe it all, but that's sort of the quick version of it.
Well, you're the only one with the power to do it, but also today's the only day you got.
Right. Right. And I find myself living in the past a lot and dreaming about the future a lot. And that makes me become very stagnant, very procrastinating all the time. And if you can just stop and say, today is the day, I'm going to take some small steps towards what I really want. That's how everything happened for me.
Right. So as people look at you and you've got this successful music career and you're a speaker and you've got a book out, this isn't something that you just woke up and said, hey, I think I'll do that today.
Right. That is definitely not something I ever thought I would be doing. Singing was far from something I wanted to be. So I'm surprised to be even here talking to you today, because this is nothing that I ever dreamed of as I was growing up. This is a whole life has just thrown this in my direction, and I'm just living it. So
you just take what comes, don't you?
Yep, I do.
It's small incremental steps, and today is the day to do it. If not today, when? But really, I mean, yesterday's gone.
Right.
And it's never tomorrow. Have you noticed this, Eric?
Right.
Check your calendar. It's today. Always.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
It's never tomorrow. So what if we're putting off our happiness or our achievements or our goals till tomorrow?
Right. It never gets there.
It just doesn't time. Sorry, folks. That's the news flash from Eric and Dr. Paul today.
And I'm sure lots of other people.
Never tomorrow. But there's always something that you can do now.
True.
You told your story in your book, and this is quite autobiographical, this Why Not Today book, where you tell your story. And as I was reading this, Eric, first of all, I could relate to a lot of it. I grew up in a fairly rural part of Utah as well.
Okay.
And, it's the kind of thing where if I got into trouble downtown, my parents would know before I got home, because my uncle and aunt both witnessed it. I'm my own fourth cousin. Should we get into that too?
That's awesome.
I don't know if I've revealed that on my show before.
Can you edit that out right there? No,
but it's true, actually.
That's funny.
That's another story.
That is funny.
But I'm relating to this because we all have this history, this background where stuff happens. In fact, I think there's a bumper sticker that says that, or something like it.
Yeah, stuff does happen to everybody.
It happens, and it happens on a regular basis. But the more interesting question becomes, okay, what am I going to do with whatever life has handed me?
Right.
And you've got a subtitle that I'm really interested in too, and I want to illuminate this as we get going because it's part of our conversation.
Right.
It says, face your fears, and my listeners all know that I'm a big fan of that.
Right.
And chase your dreams.
Right.
Our fears get in the way sometimes and have us not playing the game.
Yeah, all the time. It was all the time for me.
You told a story there about a cruise.
Yeah.
And a karaoke.
Right.
Just share that briefly with our listeners, because here you are, a singer. You've got albums out. You've been to Nashville.
Yeah.
And you've got an amazing voice. I love listening to your music. In fact, we'll play a little bit during the break here for the listeners.
It's funny because when I speak or when I sing in my shows, I will actually tell people, do you believe the fact that I didn't sing a note in my life until I was in my 20s? That my family didn't even know that I could sing.
Yeah.
And that's the fact of it. I didn't want to be a singer. I never once said, you know what, someday I think I want to be a singer, or someday I want to be in a band, or that was nothing that I wanted to be a police officer or a wildlife conservation officer or a veterinarian, or I
something that made more
wanted
sense.
This. Yeah, I never wanted this. This is not what I wanted. And my brother could sing. He was in a band. And my mom could sing, and my sister was a drama teacher in high school. She could sing and act and do all that stuff, but I just wasn't that guy. I didn't have the talents. I didn't have any talents. And I remember writing in my journal at one point saying, I wished I had talents because I don't have anything. I just didn't have any talents back then. I just felt like like everything had passed me by. And it was one of those times in my life where I was having a pretty rough year. My grandfather had passed away, and life was just happening to all of us, and me especially. And which is all in the book at that point, but I won this free cruise. I won it on the radio, which I got really lucky. And I was the ninth caller in 9 minutes and 8 seconds. And I won this cruise. I'd never been on a cruise. I'd never traveled much at that point. And I was so excited to go. I took my brother with me, and we flew out to go on the Mexican Riviera, Baja Mexico cruise. I think it was like a 3 or 4 day cruise.
Oh, nice.
It was on September 10th, 2001 that we chose to sail out of Los Angeles.
Oh, boy.
And obviously the next day we woke up and everything was in turmoil. The country was under attack on September 11th. We started to get off the boat and we could see the TV screens with all the towers being attacked, and nobody knew what was happening down in Mexico. We didn't have all these cell phone connections at the time, or we could at that point. And as we got on our bus to go to the Ensenada blowhole, they took us up the road a bit, turned us around, and said they needed us to leave the country because Mexico didn't want us there. And there was rumors that cruise ships could be the next targets. Los Angeles was under attack. New York was under attack. Everything was completely messed up down there. We were hearing rumors of things. And so they sent us out to international waters. They quarantined us on the top deck. They flew in the Coast Guard and they searched room by room by room with bomb-sniffing dogs to check for bombs on our boat.
Wow.
And while we were sitting up there, I mean, this was a panic moment for everybody. I mean, talk about fears and being scared. We literally thought maybe this was the time we would not get home. This is it.
Your number's up.
Our number's up. Our boat's going to go up in flames at any minute.
Just like we read, yeah.
We saw them hauling people off of our boat on the helicopters. Talk about fears there. I mean, we saw them taking people off of our boats.
Wow.
And we didn't know, oh man, maybe they didn't find the bomb. Maybe we were just talking about all these things what could happen. And my brother said, boy, maybe there's something you always wanted to do that you never got that chance to do. And I said, well, I always thought maybe I could sing. You know, my mom used to tell me, hey, you can sing. Or when I would whistle, she'd say, you can whistle on key. You can whistle on tune. You can probably sing. And I would say, I am not singing in front of anybody. I'm not speaking in front of anybody. This is my biggest fear. That's what I always said. But at this point in time, I guess desperation and fear of not making it home, I said, yes, I will try karaoke. And I did stand up and sing a song called The Dance by Garth Brooks. And I stood there shaking, and I was holding the microphone. I remember my hands just doing, you can't see it on the camera, but I was just shaking so hard.
Zone.
And I looked at the TV, and in my book, I included a picture of me just staring at that TV. And at the end of the song, I looked down. I thought, wow, I finished the whole song without dying, without passing out.
Not yet.
I did it. I got done. And a lady came up to me, and she was emotional, obviously, because of the day and everything. But she gave me a hug, and she said, you need to go home and become a singer. And I did just that.
Wow. Hold on. This was 2001.
Yes.
And that's the first time you sang publicly.
Yes.
And you only did it because you're going to die anyway.
You know, I had friends that were going to a karaoke club, and I had known about it. I'd gone with them. I'd watched them sing, you know. And after that, I started going with them and doing, like, group songs and just trying to build up my confidence. And then I started to pick a few songs that I could sing. And that next year, I really started working on this karaoke confidence. Maybe 5-6 people watching. Talk about nerve-wracking. That was so crazy for me.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I started to build my confidence. It was literally at a place called the Honolulu Grill, a little Hawaiian restaurant in town. It was a tiny, tiny restaurant, and they had karaoke on Fridays and Saturday nights, and we would go in and do karaoke. And that's how I started building my confidence as a singer.
Wow. So when you talk about face your fears and chase your dreams, you're talking from your experience.
My experience. Like, I always wished I would have tried that sooner. I always thought maybe I could sing. I was just scared to do it. I was afraid to stand. I know when I would go to, like, a church thing, and they would ask me, hey, can you get up and make an announcement for an activity? I couldn't do it. I would just literally have this panic attack, and I would drip sweat everywhere, and my heart would beat. I couldn't talk. I couldn't get up there. I would pay people to stand up there and announce for me at $5, so I didn't have to stand
just
up on
so
that.
You didn't have to do it.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it.
So, Eric, as we go into this break, let's give people a chance to hear what we're talking about, because you've got an amazing voice and you've got this great sound. Let's play some of that for our listeners as we go into this break. And then when we come back, let's get back into that story. We'll be right back, folks. Hey, Live on Purpose Radio listeners. The fact that you're listening to this show probably means that you're a fan of personal development. Your personal development library should include copies of both of my books, Pathological Positivity and the pocket-sized companion Portable Positivity. There's a .com for both titles, so you can share these books with others. I also have a special offer just for listeners of the show. Go to drpauljenkins.com/LOPR for Live on Purpose Radio. I'll send you signed copies of both for a special discounted rate. That's drpauljenkins.com/LOPR.
I've been waiting for just the right moment to start living the life of my dreams. I was hoping some magical moment would come rescue me, but it hit me today. There's no better time to begin. This day I've been given is my day to start living, so I'm jumping in. Why not today while the sun is shining? Today while I know I can. The past is behind me, tomorrow can't find me till I live today. So why not today while my heart is ready? Today while it's in my grasp. If I start out slowly, I'm confident knowing I'm still on my way. So why not today? I've been searching in all the wrong places for the courage to follow my dreams, but I finally discovered the power lies inside of me. I could spend my life waiting for something to show me the way, but I would be missing the wonderful blessing of embracing today. Why not today while the sun is shining? Today while I know I can. The past is behind me, tomorrow can't find me till I live today. So why not today while my heart is ready? Today while it's in my grasp. If I start out slowly, I'm confident knowing I'm still on my way. So why not today? I'm ready, I'm willing, I'm able, I'm learning to fly. But how will I know how high I can soar if I never try? Why not today while the sun is shining? Today while I know I can. The past is behind me, tomorrow can't find me till I live today. Why not today while my heart is ready? Today while it's in my grasp. If I start out slowly, I'm confident knowing I'm still on my way. Why not today? Why not today? Why not
Wow, cool. Eric. So that's the song we were talking about.
Yeah, that's Why Not Today right there. That's the song.
That's Why Not Today.
Yeah.
Folks, as you listen to that, and as you listen to my conversation here with Eric today, consider for just a moment some of the areas in your own life where you're feeling that fear or that insecurity or that lack of confidence. Because, Eric, you were there.
Yeah.
You were there. And had you stayed stuck there, we wouldn't have been able to hear what we just heard.
I hate to think about what would have happened if I would have stayed stuck there. That wasn't a good time for me in my life. So I'm really glad that I was able to face that fear.
And people who get into your book will see that it's not just about facing your fears about music.
Right.
There was a history of bullying. You've had problems with your weight. There have been many traumatic losses in terms of people dying that were important to you. All common experiences. Can I just say that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You're not a special case,
many
after all.
people have worse.
Yeah. But what do we do when life beats us up a little bit? You've got a message for that.
Right.
That's what you're telling people.
Right. We have a choice. We have a choice to make, and it's a hard choice, but we do. And I have people all the time say, well, that's not true. Sometimes it's so bad you can't make that choice. But you can make that choice. You really have no choice but to make that choice and to make it, give up or fight. That's what I say. You either fight or you give up. That's the only choice you have.
Mm-hmm. If that's always your choice, why not? Take it on.
Why not?
Why not today? I'm still thinking about that cruise ship, Eric.
Yeah.
And how in your mind, this could be it.
Right.
This could be my last day. And I'm not even on earth. I'm on water.
Yeah. And, and people think, boy, he just came home and he just became the singer. But it wasn't like that. And it wasn't anything like that. And you don't even read that in the book because the book is not about my journey as a musician. And I did have another book out about that, which sort of helped this book come to life, because a few of the stories in my book about being a musician was the weight, was the bullying, and things like that. And people said, hey, we want to hear those stories. And that's where this came from. But that's not how it happened. I went home and I worked on the confidence, like I said, and I started to try to find a voice teacher, and I found one and it didn't work out. And I went to another one and it didn't work out. And everything just went from one to the other to, at one point I'm paying well over $1,000 a month in voice lessons. And it's still not working out. And nothing is easy. Nothing worked easy for me. And that's the thing. I could have gave up a million times, and I didn't. And I'm not. And I'm here today, and I'm still not even close to giving up. It's just one of those things. You decide something and just go for it.
I think a really helpful concept here. You spoke to this earlier, Eric, where you talked about what is that next step? The little thing that you can do today toward whatever your dream is.
Right.
And it may seem insignificant, but your choice to grab that karaoke mic and stare at that monitor, don't make eye contact with anybody.
I didn't.
Right? But your choice to do that little step, created the kinds of results that we listened to during the break today.
It changed my life. Well, and if you go back even further, I made a phone call into a radio station. Most of the time people say, I'm never going to win. I'm not even going to try. What if I didn't call to win? What if I wasn't listening to the radio that day? But, there's so many things going back, way back. Maybe had I not lost the weight that I talk about before that, maybe I wouldn't have had any confidence. Maybe I never would have stood up in front of people if I was still self-conscious about that. There's so many things that factor into this whole why not today. It's not just singing. You got to list what you really want out of life. Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to have financial freedom? Do you want to be debt free? And I know I've been reading your book, which I love, by the way. And you've got a lot of things in there like that. And you talk about the feeling. And that's what this is about, is what you talk about, the feeling. How do you want to feel at the end of the day? And I tell people, how do you want to feel at the end? Basically, that's what it's all about.
Right.
Why not today feel better about yourself by helping other people feel better about themselves, and face your fears and chase your dreams? I mean, there's so many elements to it, but your book's a great book, by the way. I just have to say that. And you have a lot of great things in there like that I really appreciate.
Well, we were chatting before the show about how we're teaching the same stuff.
That's right.
Really? And
Right.
what a great example too, Eric, because you don't have to go get a PhD from the university to make a difference in people's lives. In fact, sometimes that messes you up.
Well, I definitely don't have that. And that's one of the things I like. Your book was very, educated and facts related and things like that that I like to read too.
Mm-hmm.
My book's just, like you said, more autobiography style, redneck, I'm just, I'm a college dropout, had to have a reading and writing tutor as a kid. And it's just, I just had a story that needed to be shared.
Yeah.
And so it's just an easy read and that's just how it is.
But there's different ways each of us can share our stories. You've got some dog tags around your neck.
Yeah, and they're making a lot of noise. Sorry about that. You can hear them jingling.
Jingle, but that's great because it calls attention to another aspect of this, Eric. Your choices have obviously transformed your life into something that is much more of what you wanted, even though you didn't know you wanted all this.
Exactly.
You're living a life that you can love and get engaged in, but it's not all about you. And those dog tags symbolize that for me. Can you just share what that's all about?
I'm really proud of these. In 2005, after I did meet Fly Lady that I mentioned, she started to promote my album, and where I said she has followers and people to listen to her in all the different countries and states. And my CD just went crazy. My website crashed. My albums went to 17 different countries, all 50 states. I mean, I could not keep up. It was an amazing experience for me. But what happened after that was even more amazing, and it was the friendships that I made with the people that bought my CDs.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lady email me and tell me that my music had helped her through a really hard time, and that her son, and her name was Mary, by the way, and she lived in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Her son, Nicholas, had passed away in a helicopter accident in Afghanistan. Oh. And she bought like a bunch of my CDs to give to her friends, and she said, would you please consider wearing his memorable dog tag sometime when you perform and talk about Nicholas. Mm-hmm. His name is Nicholas Sovey, and his mom's name's Mary. And I wear this, and I've worn it in pretty much every single show since then. I mean, this has probably been on thousands and thousands of people have seen it on stage, on camera. Mm-hmm. And I wear his dog tag, and I tell that story because he gave his life protecting us after that tragedy that turned me into a singer. And right. It's gone full circle here. I was on a ship when we got attacked, and he was fighting for my freedom while I was out singing and sharing my story. And I'm very proud to wear this, and I tell that story all the time when I sing my patriotic songs. And over the years, I picked up a couple more from people. I don't know the stories. They've just tossed them to me on stage when I've been telling that story. Mm-hmm. But I'm proud to wear Nicholas's, and that's the one that started it. It makes a lot of noise when I'm doing interviews and on camera, but that's something I'm very proud of, and I wear these all the time.
Well, that's a noise that reminds us that we're not alone.
Yep.
And that freedom is not free.
It is not free.
Wow. You've made a difference for people because you faced your own fears. And yes, it improved your life, but that's the selfish part.
There is a little bit of that to it, and people always ask me that all the time. Oh, you must just love being with all these people. I'm sort of an introvert. I really am. People think, oh, he's got to be so outgoing and love all this attention. I don't like the attention that much. Mm-hmm. I don't like the gifts and the praise. And there's people I literally have to tell, I don't like praise. I don't like thank yous. I don't like gifts. I'm just here because I have a message to share and I want to help people. And if it helps you in some way, that is enough for me. That's all I want out of this. And there is a little bit of selfishness to it, but it's hard for me to accept all the group things, after you read what I've been through. I'm not used to that. I don't like it that much. So
yeah. Well, when I say that's the selfish part, I mean, yeah, it benefits you.
Right.
But really, that's not what it's all about.
No, not at all for me.
As you get past your own fears, Eric, you make a difference for other people. And you can lift and inspire someone who's lost a son in Afghanistan.
Well, and part of my story is I don't really even play guitar. I get asked all the time, can you come play guitar? And I say, look, I jumped into being a singer late in life. I didn't know how to write songs. I didn't know how to play guitar. I just decided I'm going to do this thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to sing karaoke songs. And I stood in front of Diamond Rio and I sang karaoke tracks and I got made fun of. And I had phone calls called in against me. People saying, you should never let a karaoke singer perform in a big concert like this. Mm-hmm. And that's just part of my story. I did something that most people would not want to do. They would not dare do, be a full-grown man dancing around on stage singing karaoke songs in front of thousands of people. That's what you have to do to achieve the things you want to achieve. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen just because somebody handed it to you. You have to want it bad enough to be shameless about it. And that's what I've had to do for many years now.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to do that.
Isn't it interesting, Eric? As you listen back to the recording of this, you're going to hear yourself saying things that people had told you for years. And here you are in a different place. It's actually true. The principles that we've been taught are true. And that's why you and I are teaching the same things, because these principles are universal. It's not like Dr. Paul owns them or Eric Dodge owns these principles. We're just tuning in. We're the messengers.
Yeah, messengers, yep.
And as we're humble enough to accept that there are some principles out there that can change my life, and there are people who have already tried it who are telling me, yeah, this is how it works. And get past our pride. You know, I talk in my book about the special case syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, where we all believe that we're a special case, and somehow through our own staggering brilliance, we can come up with the answer. It's not about that.
I love that, where you were talking about the money situations when you were driving and you just had that realization. And there's so many people that are in those types of situations where they just don't want to face the reality that, hey, this is a problem that I can fix. And that was what I loved about that part of your book as well, because there's a lot of people that can relate to that. That's special case syndrome, where, you know, they have some sort of a big problem that nobody knows about. And, you know, why not today start taking steps, like we said earlier, to fix that, to change that? You can change it. We can all change it.
And today's probably the best time to do that.
Right this minute,
Since
now,
it's
today.
the only one that's available to us. Let's take this one.
It is. It's today. It's your chance.
That's beautiful. Powerful message, Eric Dodge.
Thank you.
You're doing some good work in this world. How can people connect with you? Let's give them a way to find you.
Well, my website's ericdodge.com, and you can find me on every social media, places I didn't even know I was. You know, I think I'm even on Pinterest. I don't know, but everything's on Eric Dodge Music. It's under my Facebook, my Twitter, my everything, LinkedIn, and and also there's I think there's a Why Not Today site that's starting up on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter as well. But that's still in the works now. But ericdodge.com will get you to all that stuff.
Eric Dodge with an ERIC. DODGE, Eric Dodge.
Just like the truck.
Just like the truck and the country music scene. Oh, wait, that's you.
And I drive a Dodge. Everybody says, do you drive a Dodge? Yes, I do.
Yes, he does. And he wears the hat. So awesome. Well, folks, go listen to Eric's music, but also listen to his message. It's powerful. The book, Why Not Today, by our friend Eric Dodge. It'll open up some new possibilities for you. That's awesome. Eric, anything else you want to say as we're signing off today?
I just want to say thank you for having me. This is really great, and it's been fun to get to know you and all the other people I've got to meet through this journey. And your book is great. Like I said, I've got it right here in front of me, and I've been reading it as well. And thank you for that book, that you've shared your messages to try to help people as well. And you are making a difference, obviously. So I don't have to tell you that. So thanks for having me on here to be part of this.
Thank you, Eric. And everybody, it's your turn now. Let's go make a difference in this world. Spread the message of positivity. Spread the message of why not today. Face your fears. Chase your dreams. This has been Eric Dodge with Dr. Paul at Live on Purpose Radio. Everybody go out and live on purpose.